As per the title of this video, it is a life update plus also a progress update. I have been on YouTube for 8 months now, and we're approaching the end of Q1 in 2025. Where does time fly? And I thought it would be really useful for me to sort of like do the self-reflection and share that as part of the self-development journey that I'm on, and to also bring you up to speed on what's going on in Tanya land within my head and what I'm experiencing personally, because then it'll start making you realize that what I'm actually trying to convey through this channel is what I'm actually practicing daily myself and weekly and quarterly, to be able to really track and monitor the progress that I'm making and celebrate the victories and the millimeter progress that I'm actually seeing along the way. So if this is a topic that is resonating, if you've been following this channel for the past 8 months or a portion of that and you want to know a little bit more, please stick around. And for those of you that have already clicked off, you've already gone, so it doesn't really matter. So the channel, the reason why I set up this YouTube channel was because I was launching my online coaching and therapy business, and I wanted to get comfortable being in front of the camera because yes, I've done Zoom and Teams meetings through my previous career and also as part of my training and working with my one-to-one clients. But I wanted to get really comfortable of being able to share vulnerably and openly what I'm actually thinking and feeling and experiencing, but also to share my life experiences and my training, because there's a lot of gems, a lot of tools, techniques, tips, practical aspects that a lot of us are navigating life and we're absolutely blind and oblivious and unaware of the fact that we've got the mindset, that inner voice, that inner critic that tends to sort of like keep us in a rumination, and we overthink, and then we get into paralysis analysis and we don't then take action. And then we compare ourselves with other people and we don't feel that we're making the progress, or we don't have the life that we really truly want and aspire to have. And then we just criticize ourselves. So we just keep ourselves in that vicious negative loop, and then we seek external pleasures and validations to shift our mood and our kind of mindset a little bit, but it's short-lived. And then we repeat that kind of pattern. So the whole purpose of doing the YouTube channel was to reach a wider audience that I'm not going to be able to work with on a one-to-one basis, but that I can actually share hints and tips and practical aspects that you can then incorporate into your day-to-day life in order for you to feel the benefits and experience the kind of joys and fulfillment that life lessons and experiences are actually giving you the opportunity to navigate. But because we sort of like are so busy and we just keep going, I've come to realize that we're human beings, we're not human doings, yet we're conditioned that in order for us to feel self-worth, self-love, self-compassion towards ourselves, we need to constantly achieve and strive for things. But slowing things down really helps. And hopefully within this kind of video, when I'm sort of looking back in 6 months' time, I can actually see the progress that I'm making. So the channel started off with self-development, because this is my self-development journey, but at the same time sharing information with people that may resonate with the content, because I know my vibe will resonate with some people but not with everyone, and that's totally fine. But it's about sharing information, but also giving you the ability to be seen and heard without us actually communicating, because my story, the information that I'm sharing may resonate with you. It might make you, wait a minute, that makes perfect sense, or wait a minute, I'm doing this and I didn't realize I was doing it. Because as part of my coaching training, I've sort of come to realize that there is a lot of blind spots that we actually have. And as much as we may be self-aware, having done a lot of self-development and improvement, whatever you may want to call it, the reading, the courses, the actual putting into practice, some of the elements that sort of resonated, there's still lots of layers that we're subconsciously unaware that we're actually doing. And sometimes someone impartial looking in can actually notice the language that you use, the body kind of movement, and whether things resonate. But when you're doing it one-on-one, we're probably blind. And that is our kind of instinct to protect ourselves, to keep us safe. Because if we were fully aware of absolutely everything that we actually do, it would probably put us into a freeze mode where we would probably start criticizing and judging ourselves and not being kind and compassionate. So I've got this saying that I use, which is, when the student is ready, the right teacher comes along. And for me, that has sort of like been the case multiple times. I've read the right book, I've watched the right content, I've interacted with a friend, peer or colleague or a client that has then sort of like given me insight. So the channel has sort of grown, and it is growing at a steady pace. At this rate, I think I'm going to reach my 1,000 subscribers in another 3 years' time, and that is totally fine. I have come to recognize that it's not about achieving the 1,000 subscribers within a short period of time, because then I wouldn't be authentic to what truly resonates, what I truly value. And it's about incorporating the tips and the techniques into my day-to-day life and into my client's life, and then hopefully within this audience as well. So you can actually go at the pace that feels right for you. But I've also come to realise that I was creating a lot of content. I know I've got a lot of shorts at the moment, which I think then sort of reaches a wider audience, and then if the message resonates, they can come back and look at the long form videos. But even from a long form video, I've still got a lot of content. And as much as I'm refining my message, I want to sort of make sure that I'm not sort of bombarding with too much information. I need time to sort of like self-reflect and digest and make sure that the messaging that I'm actually sharing is reaching the audience that is going to resonate with it more. And as a result, I've started doing some LinkedIn market research with my network. I've got a lot of contacts that are high achieving, successful women that are navigating life just like every one of us, but they're facing challenges on a personal or professional level that I can actually start creating some content that's going to resonate with them and within the YouTube audience in due course as well. So I know my niche is being refined. I know I'm starting to focus more on women over 40, and I'm also finding that I want to resonate with women that are not just high achievers, but they are willing to sort of like take the time to slow down, self-reflect, and really connect with themselves to figure out, do they authentically love themselves? Is the actions that they're taking an action of self-love and compassion? Or are they got a different metric for what love is towards other people and what love is to themselves? And refining that information is something that I'm constantly evolving. And it's about also empowering women to be able to sort of not judge themselves harshly if they slow down, if they do nothing. As I said, we're human beings, not human doings, but we've been conditioned the more we need to do to get the external validation, to feel the reward, to feel the pleasure, to feel all the happy hormones flushing through our bodies. Our body is a little chemical laboratory that it seeks that kind of dopamine and endorphin hit because it wants to feel pleasure. It doesn't want to feel pain and suffering, and it will avoid, it will numb, it will suppress emotions of discomfort, and sometimes it will keep your comfort zone small. And there is this saying that I've got on my website as well, is that our life expands or contracts in proportion to our courage. If we are courageous, if we are brave to actually look inwards rather than seeking the validation externally, we can figure out, what do we truly want? And therefore, what actions do we need to take in order for us to achieve what we want? And it's not about just doing. It's about slowing down and really seeing what is the bit that's going to move the needle the most. And within business, there is the kind of 80-20 rule, that if you do 20% of the work that has the 80% impact, then you're going to see massive progress. And the remaining 80% that is only giving you 20% of the benefit, you may choose that you may never need to do that. Or by taking care of the top 20% of the activity, the benefits are already cascading into the remaining 80. And this is about living a life that has meaning, purpose, but that we can actually look on our life and see the progress that we're making and feel proud of the progress that we're making, of the seeing the achievement and the joy and contentment that we are sort of deriving from it. And within my life, I said at the beginning of 2025, my aspiration was I wasn't going to read as many books. I was going to slow down and just put the books that I had been reading into more practice. But Tanya Brain is so enamored with reading and knowledge acquisition that I can't seem to stop myself from doing that. But what I'm also sort of like recognizing is the reason why I'm being driven to want to read, to want to know more, is because I want to make the impact to my clients and to this audience even more meaningful. And as a result, I've decided that for all the certifications that I've got, being a coach and being a hypnotherapist, now I want to do a clinical hypnotherapy course as well, and that will start in April. So as a result, I've been doing a lot of additional reading, and it's amazing how the kind of client interactions that I've had earlier on this year are sort of aligning with some of the reading, and it's just making that the things that I was instinctively doing, now I understand why I was doing it. The other thing that happened in February is I got the opportunity to spend 2 weeks with my parents, who were both visiting from Greece, and I actually got to spend some quality time with them and put into practice some of the boundary work and some of the inner child work that I did probably about the mid part of 2024. And really sort of like be present, be mindful, being considerate, and being kind towards myself, acknowledging the fact that I don't need to go at 100 miles per hour all the time, that I can actually slow down and enjoy the interactions and accept that the way that people sort of display love and affection can be different. We've all got our own kind of love languages that sort of like resonate with us. So I was able to sort of like reflect early on in March the kind of progress that I can see in myself, the way that Tanya of 2025 is reacting to situations, that she's not feeling triggered and she's not falling into patterns of behaviour that weren't making me feel good about myself in the past. And I can see the growth that I've sort of gone through. And it just goes to show that we need to sort of like, change will happen in 3 ways. You can have instant change, you can have cumulative change, and you can have retrospective change. And change can happen for the same thing. It can happen the 3 ways as well. You can instantly feel, oh yeah, I'm changing that habit. I now know why. I've got that understanding and I'm going to change something. And you put the practical steps in place to make that change happen. So you get that instant kind of gratification. But then over time, when you're tracking and monitoring the progress that you're making, you start realizing how is it cascading and it's impacting the rest of your life? How is it impacting your relationships with others as a result? And when you do a reflection like this, looking back on the previous 8 months of the YouTube channel, looking at the previous 3 months of 2025 and the progress that you're actually making, you can actually really cement and solidify the habits that have been, pat on the back, well done for me, for showing up for me, for doing the uncomfortable things. Because in some instances, as I said, the inner critic is trying to keep you in the comfort zone, keep you safe and protected. But as a result, you're kept in that vicious circle of feeling like that you're maybe not doing as much as you should do. You start comparing yourself to others or to your expectations of where you currently are and where you thought you would be, because sometimes we want to do more than what we're actually not necessarily capable of. But in order for us to get enjoyment and satisfaction through life, we don't want to just keep going through the motions, just keep striving, moving. You want to be present, you want to be mindful, you want to be kind and compassionate. And as a result, being able to sort of like do these self-reflections, which may provide some insight for you. Hopefully me sharing this information is resonating. You can actually see the progress that I've made, but also self-reflect on the progress that you've made. In the past 8 months, what have you sort of achieved? What have you experienced? What has your life been like? Have you achieved the things that you set out to achieve? Have you course corrected? Have you sort of pivoted and done something different? The goals that you may have set yourself for 2025, how are you tracking on them? Have you made decisions but then you've not followed through? So rather than being harsh and critical to yourself, just acknowledge the fact that, yeah, you've not made the progress that you aspire to make. But then sort of self-reflect. Is that because you had too much stuff? Was the kind of move of where you currently are to where you want to be such a huge gap that it wasn't achievable for you to do it in one massive leap? That it's going to take several months or maybe even several years. And me mentioning about the YouTube channel, I started off in July 2024 thinking, oh yeah, within a year I'll have my 1,000 subscribers and I'm going to feel that I'm going to be impacting more and more people. And therefore, my message is actually being shared and we're creating this tribe of like-minded women or even males as well, because I don't want to be exclusive. I know a lot of my audience are males, so anyone that resonates with the message that I'm actually sharing. And it's about being seen, being heard, being understood, and not just within each other, being understood by ourselves. Because all this reading that I've been doing has sort of like identified blind spots in myself that I wasn't aware of, and the interactions that I'm actually having with my kind of coaches and my peers as well is highlighting that there's been instances where I've needed to get out of my own way because I was holding myself back. And the LinkedIn kind of market research that I've been doing, I knew I wanted to do that in December, but it's taken me until March before I've put the kind of steps in place to actually start doing it. So January and February, I made excuses, I made stories up, I held myself from not moving at the pace that I wanted to in that space. But on self-reflection, I needed that time and I needed to go at that pace in order for me to learn the lessons that I did learn, for me to grow, for me to notice the millimeter progress, and for me to be able to enjoy the special time with my parents. So from this perspective, it's give yourself permission to just slow down. I know if you've been watching 18 minutes in, this is a topic that's resonating, or you're resonating with my vibe and energy. And if this is something that you want to sort of like work on yourself, please watch some other of the content that I've got on the channel if you've not already done so, to see if there's other things that are sort of resonated. Feel free to comment in the comments below if this resonated, and if so, what did resonate? What are the topics that you would want to see more content created? And going back to the kind of original about the channel, I started with the aspiration that I was going to post 3 videos, long form videos per week. And then as we came into February 2025, I realised that I needed to slow down the pace to be able to give myself the time to spend the quality time with my parents, but also to start doing the kind of LinkedIn kind of posts and the interaction with my network as well. And while working with clients has been something that's given me immense joy and satisfaction, I also recognise that I really enjoy the YouTube, but I couldn't contain doing the 3 videos, so I reduced it to the 2 videos per week. And now this week you will have noticed it's just the 1 video, and going forward I'm going to do the 1 video if it so transpires that I've got the capacity and bandwidth and there is a topic that I really feel strongly that I want to post, then I might do 2 videos per week as and when, so it'll be more of an ad hoc, but going forward we're going to stick to the 1 video per week. I'm going to post on a Wednesday just to sort of like give people time to sort of like catch up, and looking at the metrics on my channel, people watch at different times each week, so there isn't a kind of universal pattern. So I just thought middle of the week, Wednesday, that's when I'm going to do the posting. So this is where it's about slowing down, self-reflecting and celebrating the progress that you're making. So if this content has resonated, please like and subscribe. If you think someone in your life would benefit from hearing what I've shared and or wants to see more content from my channel, please share it with them. And I want you to seize the day. Take a few moments to look inwards and really celebrate the progress that you have made, because you have made progress. And remember, there's always choices in life, so choose wisely. Bye until the next one.